Chapter 1 Expiration June 30th, 2316 Mongolia Sector City of Shia Elementōrum Patriam. Ethan's legs gave out. He groaned in pain when his knees hit the dry-packed earth of the open field. A small fire burned a few feet away from him. Despite its size, it blazed with a suppressive heat. The proctor for his test, Taylor, stood over the fire and controlled it with an outstretched arm. His cool blue eyes pierced through Ethan like knives. Ethan returned the look with venom. He knew the council planned to kill him if he didn't pass the test. He didn't care. It didn't matter how much Professor Taylor pushed him. He wouldn't be able to control water like they wanted. The last-ditch effort to save his life. With a low groan, Ethan hoisted himself on shaky legs and took several aggravating steps toward the fire. He stretched out his left arm. No use, he thought bitterly. No fiber of his genetic makeup allowed him to gather the available water in his body or in the air to extinguish the flames. Ethan's body pitched forward and he caught himself on the ground with his hands. The dirt and gravel dug into his palms and knees. He dropped his head to the ground, and his sweaty red hair dragged through the dirt. His eyes settled on the upside-down world framed by his legs. None of the houses faced each other, a design to help cut down on traffic in neighborhoods, tightly packed with barely any landscaping. Each garage accommodated two slim, circle-shaped hover cars which took up half the space of a tired vehicle. Each roof had its own solar panel dish. He dragged his head up. Taylor watched Ethan with little interest, annoyed at the teenager's lack of ability. Ethan didn't blame him. Professor Taylor had a reputation as one of the harshest graders at the academy, but even the nicest teachers couldn't help him pass his element tests. When his eyes met Taylor's, his pounding heart and the hum of the air conditioners intensified. Ethan drew in a deep breath, and the sound rattled in his ears. A bead of sweat ran down his cheek and fell to the parched ground. "Put it out, Silverspoon," Taylor growled. Even in the heat, he dressed in a professional black suit with a white-collared shirt. A red tie pushed up to his throat rested over the button seam. He didn't break a sweat. With a flash of Taylor's blue eyes, the fire grew larger, and Ethan choked on rising bile. "I can't," he shook his head. Ethan leaned back on the balls of his feet and pulled his sweat-soaked shirt from his body. He threw it to the side and fell onto his butt. Ethan tugged up the hem of his jeans and pushed his high socks down, bunching them at his ankles. He stared at the fire and kicked his legs forward. Taylor tapped his foot. Ethan shuddered. He didn't want to cross a powerful, fully trained elementalist, and he didn't have the resolve to try. Ethan had no plans to do what Taylor wanted. Rather, he couldn't physically do it. He took a steady breath and propped his torso up with his hands extended behind him. "Do it!" Taylor commanded. Ethan remained ready to fail. He couldn't control water. The Academy gave him every chance to prove his worth in all 7 elements, and he failed every time. He dropped his weight from his arms and his back hit the solid ground. Ethan winced as pain ripped through his body. The injured nerves calmed and he took in the blue sky. Clouds scattered, no birds, the sky too blue. The kind of dark blue that settles at sunset, sprinkled with the beginnings of the constellations. If the sky had the pale translucent look it did on the surface, it would look like Nevada. For a moment, the fateful afternoon of the Black Rider's descent clouded his vision. Hoofbeats echoed across his memory. The slap of a boot against the tile floor of the kitchen. A body hitting the wall. Ethan pushed his fingers through the dirt and tried to seek the switch Taylor wanted to trigger. It didn't exist. Genetics gifted him the body of an elementalist from birth, but he would never be one of them. When the council called for him, they'd give him what he desired. Long-awaited death. "If you don't pass this test, it'll be reported as another fail on your record," Taylor said. "Awesome,"